So last week I was talking with Karen Kipp, my business partner at the Decadent Detox, about our 14-day cleanse and the extraordinary things that can happen with just 2 weeks of delicious clean eating. So I thought it would be fun today to talk to 3 women in our community and what their experience was like with the 14-day cleanse. And I think you are going to be blown away by what happened to them in just 2 weeks. I've invited Gretchen, Melynn, and Ellen to join me, and hopefully you can grab a cup of tea and feel like you're sitting with us having lunch, because they are such wonderful women and really openly sharing their experience about why they chose to do the cleanse, what they thought it was going to be like, what it was like for them, and the unbelievable results that they got by just eating delicious food. So I'm so excited for you to hear from them. So let's get the skinny from Gretchen, Melynn, and Ellen. Oh, I'm so excited to be here with all of you. So listener, hopefully you can curl up with a cup of tea and feel like you're having lunch with Melynn and Ellen and Gretchen and me to talk about how clean eating can kind of change your life, right? So Ellen, I want to start with you because you've been doing the cleanse for years with us and joining, seasons here and there. So what made you join? Were you scared to join a cleanse? Did you sort of have an idea about it? What made you take the leap and go, okay, I'm going to do this for 2 weeks?
I actually remember it like it was yesterday. And I think a lot of people who come into the cleanse feel this. It's like my body needed a reset. I just come off vacation, not been eating well, not been drinking well, no water. And I just was searching for a vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free cleanse. And the Decadent Detox came up and I read about it and thought, you know what, this is exactly what I'm looking for. So I wasn't really scared because I was so determined. I felt like that's what I needed. But definitely as I got into it, it was like a lot more than I expected in a good way. It really was just more than just a 2-week cleanse for
Yeah,
sure.
wow. Okay, I'm going to get into that in a minute because I want to hear
Yeah.
about it. So Gretchen, how did you come into it and what made you do this? Because this was very different than anything you had ever done before, right? And you just took the leap and you were, no one that you ever knew had ever done anything like this before. So what made you decide, yeah, I'm going to do it?
Well, so I turn 60 next week, and when
Oh,
I know, yes,
I love
and
it.
so that is a very big time for me, a big year. And I just, when I look at people my age or older, I have a couple of responses. One, I'm either in awe and amazed at how fit they are, how well they're still living. And then I also have people that are my age that it's like they're done. They've resorted to the rocking chair, and it's like, I just really wanted to enter into a space where I was still healthy. And I've always looked for opportunities to do better. You always hear gluten free is better and dairy free is better, and all of these things. And I never knew where to start with something like that. It's like, okay, what can I eat? And I didn't have a resource or a guide to kind of help direct me. So I actually was eating at a restaurant in Kansas City, Enjoy, and
Our
they were.
restaurant, Karen and my, we're a partner in that restaurant. So yes, thank you. I love
Yes,
you reading.
yes, and that's where I heard about it. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and enter into this and see what happens. And I am so grateful that I did.
Oh, we're so grateful you did too, and we'll hear all about it. So, Melynn,
Yes.
you entered a bit of a different way, right? Because you had already done Skinny 60, the 60-day reset, our other program, and then you decided to do something different and come into the detox, right? So, what made you want to do the 14-day cleanse after the 60-day reset?
The 60-day reset was amazing for my life. I had just retired and I decided the one thing I wanted to do in retirement is to heal my gut. And I had the chance to meet you and really spent that 60 days learning a lot about things that I'd never thought about. Like, I've been gluten-free and dairy-free for years, but that's not eating healthy necessarily.
Yeah.
And so it was a totally new way to eat and to live and to go into this next phase of life. And Tess said something during Skinny 60. You said life is like a cha-cha, one step forward and then 2 steps, around or back, and then, take a step this way and that. And so Skinny 60 was great, but I felt like it was time to have like a little bit of a adjustment. And I did not really relate to the idea of a detox because I thought it was juice only. I thought I would have to do it myself. I thought I would be hungry all the time. I just had way misconceptions about what you could do to like just reset your whole system. And by the way, I turned 65 right smack dab in the middle of the Decadent Detox.
Wait a second. You decided to do the 14-day cleanse during your birthday? Oh,
yes. My husband said, now wait, you're going to do this on your birthday? I said, no, I'm taking one day off in between, in the middle. Just, full disclosure. And I took one day off and then I went right back in and it was fantastic. Has really given me a chance to reset like the way I should be feeling, the way I should be preparing, the way I should be seeking out what to buy and what to cook. And it resets your whole life, not only your body, but your whole life.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. We're going to get into this. Okay. All right. So, Ellen, you said it was so much more than you expected in a good way. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think, first of all, I like Melynn, I didn't expect the food to be what it was. It is fantastic. You've curated these flavors to go together that just are spectacular and can be eaten outside the cleanse, which is excellent.
Yeah, you and your family eat the recipes still, don't you? You say that all the time.
Yeah, there are some that are very much favorites. And, I was thinking about it, like there are certain things like beets. Never in my life had I eaten a beet. Never do I want to eat beets, right? Did I want to? I now grow beets because because we love them roasted and we love them in the smoothies. And so it was just little surprises like that. And then of course, the community behind it and the support system behind it, it just opened up so many more things, just little bits of education that would be given in the community very organically, like maybe
like what? Give me an example.
Well, like different books to read that like we would just touch on different things that would just I felt like I was just given a lot of extra resources that I could go to on my own. And it wasn't literally just for those 2 weeks. And it still hasn't been. I mean, if I have a question, I can still go to that Facebook page and the community will respond. So it's not just for 2 weeks.
Yeah. So Melynn, what surprised you about it? Like how did you feel during the 2 weeks?
I felt like I didn't feel like I was eating more, but I felt like eating was less important during those 2 weeks than everything else in life. I remember that you all would say, this is the time that you really need to nurture yourself. And, and by the way, I'm really active. And you said, just don't push yourself too much. This is a chance to really reclaim the essence of like balance in your life. So it was that kind of advice. It was, you need to go take a bath. You need to drink some this before, late in the evening. And it was just a lifestyle change that I didn't expect. And, really like Ellen, I don't eat chocolate and I have become close to an addict of the chocolates. I never made them in Skinny 60 because I don't do chocolate. But now I have those chocolates in the freezer all the time. And for a special treat, I try to keep it to 2. They're little things. So that, and, just so many new surprises to let yourself explore and take advantage of these different flavors and combinations. And it really helped to like really open the mind. It wasn't really only a body thing.
Yeah. It's so funny you mentioned the chocolates because I'll just tell you a funny story about that. So obviously we've been running the 14-day cleanse for years and years now. And one of the big things that we go is, I just feel so incredible. What do I do between the cleanses, each season, and that's very much how Skinny 60, how the 60-day reset was created. And when it came time to run the beta group, there were quite a number of people from the Decadent Detox community that were doing it. And they went, please tell me the chocolates. Please tell me the chocolates. The chocolates. It's like they go, that's detox crack. And it was so hilarious. So I had to put those chocolates
I'm so
into
glad.
360 because everybody was talking about the chocolates. Everyone was like, what are you talking about? Where's these chocolates? Oh, no, they're in the detox. Wait a second. A detox with chocolates? What are you talking about?
Right.
It was
Right.
so hilarious.
Yeah.
So Gretchen, what was your experience of your journey in the 2 weeks in terms of the surprises of what the 2 weeks was going to be like?
Well, it's interesting that you landed on the chocolates because when I saw in the, the days and everything, when I saw prepare chocolates was like before the first day even started, I was like, I can do this with chocolate. I can do anything. And they really were. They really were so enjoyable. Yeah. So definitely that. But yeah, I went to the grocery store and had to find a lot of things that I was not familiar with. I had to go to a health food store and actually ask somebody because I didn't know what some of that was and where to find it. But they were great help, and I was able to get all of my groceries and figure it out. So yeah, just the recipes, which has been mentioned, were just so amazing. And I never felt like I wasn't getting enough to eat. And the preparation time was a little something to get used to because I don't enjoy cooking, but it was nice
Your
because
husband
sometimes
helped you, right? Your husband got on board and started helping you, right?
he did the dishes. God bless him. He was like, I can't believe the dishes that you're using. And so he would start doing them. Yes. So that was how he supported
It's a
me.
lot of dishes. That's a good point. Yeah.
And then you came in for a second detox. He must have been going, oh, Gretchen, let me go get the tea towel.
Oh my gosh. He actually will try things and he enjoys them. And so it's been really fun to experience it with him and know he's getting good nutrition too, because that was a big component for me, was getting good nutrition. I don't feel like that was something that I knew how to do. And you shared enough information where I was able to do that and do it well. And so that was a fun thing to explore.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's interesting, isn't it, when you feel like you don't know what to do and then
Yes.
you get given this pot of knowledge and this whole kind of new world and things just start to click.
Mhm.
So, Ellen, you had told me, I remember when you first came in that you had been struggling with the post sort of baby weight, getting older, you kind of, you needed a reset, but you also wanted to drop some weight, right? Gretchen, I hear your little doggies going, Mommy, what's going on? Don't worry about it. We don't care. Don't even worry about it, all right? She put peanut butter on their little things to kind of distract them. We don't care, do we? So don't stress, Gretchen. And feel you going, oh my goodness, don't even worry about it. So nobody cares, listener, do you? Don't even worry about it. So, Ellen, talk me through some of the things that happened in your body, like throughout the cleanse. Like what were some of the things that started happening for you?
I think, I'd been a relatively healthy person. I've been fortunate and been relatively healthy, especially when we were starting. But what became clear to me was the amount of probably inflammation, basically, that I had, and the amount of just water and things like that my body was holding on to. And so when I started putting all this like nutrient dense food into it, and it was much more efficient with um, using all of those things, then I just kind of began to release just that inflammation. And I would usually lose on average between 6 to 9 pounds, which I know some people may think, oh my gosh, that doesn't sound healthy. But while some of that was weight gain, some of that was also just that inflammation, just kind of leaving my body.
And the water retention, the
Yeah,
waterway.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I just felt better. I felt more energetic. And I think that might be a misconception people might have when they think of detox, is that they're going to be very lethargic and not be able to do their normal things. And I would wake up so much more energetic and not need the coffee, right? We didn't do coffee during the detox, but I do like coffee. But I would
And there's
wake up
nothing wrong with having a coffee, once a
right,
day or something, right?
right. But of course, there were fabulous tea like supplement like that we could use instead. That is another thing that I learned about. But I think that's what amazed me, is that my energy level went through the roof, and then just this kind of slimming down from inflammation. So
Yeah.
um it was remarkable to see what a body can do
Oh,
with the right fuel.
right. Oh, I mean, it amazes me every time I do it, even though I've done it for decades. And every time we lead a new group every quarter, it still amazes me, like how incredible the human body is, as you say, when we give it really great fuel.
Mhm.
Melynn, what happened for you physically? Because you had already really cleaned up, and really learned some stuff, but there was still a little piece, right? There's always something more we can layer in, right? So what were some of the physical things that happened for you?
So, we always throw around this phrase, you are what you eat. And, our whole lives we go, oh, is eating right more important than exercise? And is, not even alcohol more important than eating the right way? And, I think moderation is a really great philosophy, but I think there's so many more things to take from thinking about what you put inside your body. And, you have this whole, this really cool understanding of what disease is. And I went really, really hard for 40 years in my career, and I thought I was pretty healthy, and I thought I was really, handling things well. And it turned out I don't think I was very healthy. I had all kinds of little aches and pains. I had neck pain. I had heartburn. I had headache. I had a lot of things that I just attributed to, I get on a plane every Monday and I don't eat right when I'm there. Boy, when I retire, I'm just going to stop all that. I'm going to feel fine. Well, that's not the way it really works. And as I mentioned, I already was gluten-free and dairy-free. So, what else could I do why aren't I healthier? And so we worked really hard during those 60 days because I really wanted to get off of Prilosec. I wanted to get off of that heartburn indigestion medication. And I wasn't able to. I cut it down. I felt great after 60 days. I cut it down. Then when I did the detox, I went off, as you do, you go off coffee, you go off alcohol, you put only really good things in, excuse me, you juice, you eat raw, really amazing. And it turned out after that 2 weeks, after about a week, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go off my supplements. Because remember asking you during Skinny 60, I wonder if supplements, or maybe you mentioned, it could be supplements. Somehow it came up. So I said, you know what, just for the heck of it, I'm going to go off supplements. And I'm also going to go off this Prilosec. And after 2 weeks, I was off Prilosec. Now, here's the thing. I never put coffee back into my diet after that 2 weeks. So that's something to think about. I never put supplements back in my diet because I remember you all saying, if you're eating all this healthy stuff and you're eating clean and you're buying organic, why do you need to be taking supplements? I'm like, whoa, I've been doing that my whole life. Why didn't I put that together? So supplements, coffee, I am back on alcohol, to really, to just get it out there. But
I'm not judging you for that. I drink alcohol every once in a while. Come on.
Yeah.
It's not the dry,
so
the miserable 60. Yeah.
So you also taught me about nightshades. And so about tomatoes and eggplant and the kind of vegetables that grow at night. Is that why it's called that?
Yeah, no, they've all got solanine in them. So it's a group of foods. So listener, if you don't, nightshades are a group of foods that all contain solanine. So it is peppers, it is eggplant, potatoes, and tomatoes. And yes, during the cleanse, we remove a lot of the foods that cause a lot of triggers for people, right? So it's added sugars, it's gluten, it's dairy, it's corn, soy, beans, grains, and nightshades. those are they're very, very common, widely documented foods that cause inflammation, acid reflux, digestive distress, sleep disorders, hormone imbalances, all these sorts of things, right? So the cleanses are just a really incredible opportunity to just temporarily remove those foods for 2 weeks. And then we teach you how to gradually reintroduce them so that you've got a really great opportunity to determine what your trigger foods might be. And what Melynn is talking about is a really beautiful example of that. And so in Skinny 60, we do not remove nightshades. We do recommend some people do try that because of these reasons we just talked about. But it was such an incredible thing to watch, Melynn. You take this to a whole other level with your understanding of what was making your body feel good and what wasn't. And so, it's interesting, right? Where the nightshades may have been the piece for you. And it may not be all of the nightshades. It may be one of them. You know, it might not be all tomatoes. It might be cooked tomatoes, not raw, because cooked tomatoes are more acid forming and raw tomatoes are more alkaline forming, for example, right? So, you know, every single one of us is a bio-individual being. And what is going to work for you is not going to work for Ellen, might not work for Gretchen, etc. And that is what is so lovely about when you get to figure out the puzzle of you. And that's what you're describing. It's really thrilling. So
we wouldn't have done it without you. Like, you give us this knowledge to be able to then take it and like listen to our bodies and decide what happens next. It's like the detox was great, but the information that we got was like, that was the part that helped take us forward to what are we going to do after this 2 weeks? It was great. It was really so well planned.
Thank you for those kind words, but you did the work. So the knowledge is just sitting out there if you don't receive it and actually put it into practice and actually just take that leap of faith and go, I'm just going to see what this is and how good I can feel in 2 weeks. And, you know, it doesn't even take 2 weeks. You all know that, right? It's like, it just keeps getting better every day. You just keep going, oh, come on. I mean, it's just such a shock. And, you know, you sit in wonder, right? So what's happened for you since then? Have you stayed off those supplements?
I'm off supplements and I'm off coffee. I have reintroduced nightshades. They don't seem to bother me. So I'm good now. And now I have a cup of coffee. It doesn't even taste good. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I'm fine if I never go back to coffee. It's all good.
You know, it's such an interesting thing, isn't it? It's great that you bring up coffee because that is a huge barrier for a lot of people.
Yes.
Where they go, there's no way. I'm sorry. No. I'm not going without my coffee. I cannot do it. No. Right. Yeah. And it's very interesting. So for people to realize, oh, whoa, I'm drinking coffee as a crutch to help generate energy. And when my body starts to generate its own energy, I actually don't need it. So there's a difference between need and want. If you love your morning coffee ritual and it gives you pleasure, by all means, drink the coffee. 1 cup of really high quality coffee a day can actually support better liver function, can rev up metabolism, can actually support better health in appropriate quantities. But when we're drinking 3, 4, 7 cups a day, that's when we're actually retarding our ability to generate our own energy. Ellen, how did you experience that too, right, with the coffee?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I now I would say it's more like I enjoy that. It's that ritual piece.
Yeah, you're doing it for the beautiful reasons.
Right. So we actually don't metabolize caffeine very well, my husband or I. So we actually, our coffee is, I make sure I get water decaffeinated because you have to be very careful.
We talk about that in the community.
Yeah, you have to get, so I specifically look for Swiss water decaffeinated coffee, but it's more the ritual piece, but it's, you know, that was an eye opener to realize I didn't need coffee. And if you want to go off coffee and you like that bitterness, right? You want that taste, but you don't need that caffeine. There's so many other substitutions that, and again, that I was introduced to through the detox, like the Ticino.
Yeah.
These are amazing. And a couple of them can even like be dessert, right? Like there's a dandelion mint one or something like that can be dessert. But I definitely felt that, but I kind of wanted to add on to what Melynn said about listening to your body, because
Yeah.
I had an experience that listening to my body, how I learned to listen to my body, I should say, through the detox, helped me lead me to a diagnosis years later. So I have a tick-borne illness called alpha-gal syndrome, and
Yeah.
it typically takes years to be diagnosed because people don't recognize the symptoms and tie it to a tick bite. Where I live, I have to be very tick aware, but I was very aware of the changes that were happening in my body that made me realize something was going on, one in my gut, like there was a disruption. And alpha gal syndrome causes you to have an allergic reaction to mammal, all things mammal. And so with
Hmm.
that knowledge that I gained, that's just one of those other things I was talking about, that
Yeah.
what you learn in the detox is not just these 2 weeks or not just about food. You're learning about your body and
Mhm.
what to listen for and what to pay attention to. And it can help you years later, when you're not even I was not doing a detox at the time. This was something
Yeah.
that came about later. And so I reduced the damage done to my body by getting that diagnosis and being able to make those changes. So I
Mm.
think that was just huge. And I think I sent you and Karen a note too, because
I
I'm just
know.
like,
Oh.
I this was if it weren't for the detox, I may not have put that together. So
Oh gosh, that's such a fantastic story. I mean, I'm so sorry that you're dealing with that, but you're in an empowered place with it
mhm.
because you were able to make informed decisions. Oh yes, and I remember getting that email. I have to
Yeah.
say, Karen and I called each other, because we have a weekly meeting. We speak regularly throughout the week, but when you look, I mean, we get emails every day from both of our, all of our programs, and it's just so thrilling, and it just reminds you every day this is why we do what we do,
Mhm.
because it makes such a difference, and you are empowered when you have this knowledge and you're listening to your body. You just are empowered every day, and that's such a lovely example of that. And thank you for sending that email to us, because it does really touch us. And yeah, we really loved getting that from you. Gretchen, what was your journey like with going off some of these foods that you had been used to eating, and the coffee? I'll ask you about the coffee as well.
Yeah. So, one thing that I would like to speak to, Tess, is it just your program. So, our feeds, our lives, our friends, everybody, we're inundated with 1,000 options for do this diet, try this supplement, this will work, try, and so to land on something like what you offer um, was everybody just wants to take a pill, or nowadays it's the shot. Take the shot to lose weight, take the pill so you don't change anything. Just do these, take this pill or take this shot, and you'll lose weight. This is about eating well and being healthy and sustainable, to be able to continue and learn the things that you have shared, which again, Melon, the same thing. I mean, just I would take so much knowledge is shared in the messages, the FaceTimes. It's just amazing. I'd had a notebook and I just kept scratching notes and just learning so much. So yeah, I'm glad I entered into this. I thought this is about learning how to eat better, and I feel like that's going to be a pathway that is the right one to take, as opposed to all these other options that are out there. So for me, and I kind of align with Ellen, one of the first things was like 6, 7 pounds weight loss, like right off the bat. And I know my body was inflamed. And I know that a significant amount of that was inflammation, but it was also very motivating to stay the course. Not that I wasn't, but it was like, yes, this is working. I'm going to be anxious to see what it goes like till the end, how it goes till the end. So And I did also eliminate the coffee. And I have done coffee alternatives, and I continue to do that as well. So every once in a while, like this weekend, my husband asked me, should I make a full pot of coffee? And I said yes. And I have a cup occasionally, but I don't have that desire and craving for it like I used to, like you guys have talked about, the ritual of it, on a cold winter morning, getting up and having a cup of coffee, it gets
Yes,
your day started.
fabulous. It's fabulous. So, I mean, doing the coffee for the beautiful, empowered reason. I really
Yeah.
like this, and I'm going to sip on it and savor it, and it's
Yeah.
delicious, not because I've got to drag my body out of bed and I can't wake up without it,
Right.
It's interesting what you were saying, Gretchen, about the shot. We're talking about Ozempic and all this stuff right now, and the supplements. And I want to go back to what Melynn was saying, as well as what you and Ellen are saying. This idea about what healthy looks like, and that we are being proactive if we're taking 30 supplements each day, and, we're doing something really great for our body if we're doing this and doing that. Or said differently, if I'm just not going to the McDonald's drive-through every day and not doing gluten or dairy, I must be healthy. To Melynn's point earlier when she said, I've been gluten dairy free forever. And I realized, well, that doesn't mean you're healthy. I mean, there's all kinds of French fries are vegan, gluten free, right? I mean, and listen, we all have those from time to time too, for the right reasons, right? For joy and whatever. We just don't do it every day, right? It's all about balance. So I'm loving the awareness that you're all talking about, about redefining what healthy looks like and feels like. And so I want to ask you, from the knowledge that you gained and just the feeling in your body and all of these things, how has that changed how you look at things now? So I know that you're all omnivores. So what was it like for you to eat vegan and gluten-free and a lot of raw? We do cooked and raw in the beginning, and then we do cooked and raw at the end, but we do a lot of raw. What did that feel like for you? Were there any surprises for you in terms of what you thought that would look like being vegan for 2 weeks? So Melynn, what did it feel like for you?
I thought it was, there's no alternative to trust in the process. And, I've lived that way my whole life. Like, if I trust my doctor, I'm going to trust whatever process he or she sends me on. So knowing what Skinny 60 was and how the process really worked, I think I was most apprehensive to have to drink juice for 3 days. And was it 2 days or 3 days, whatever it was.
Okay. Oh, I'm going to get into that bit too. We're going to talk about that.
So I think it was more like overcoming the fear or anxiety of the approach and just taking advantage of all that there was. Like, there's this entire list of here's what you get at the grocery store for this whole week, or whatever it was, 3 day, the first section.
Yeah.
Go to the grocery store and get all this. I didn't have to make any decisions. I just trusted that what Tess and Karen have put together is going to be fulfilling. It's going to be right. It's going to be healthy. And it was. So I think it was maybe a mindset. And so I set myself up for being satisfied. And I was. I had nothing else I can say, but it was totally satisfying and even overachieved what I thought vegan and raw could be.
Yeah, it's interesting what you're saying about the mindset piece, isn't it? Because the know, like, and trust factor was very high for you because you had already had 60 days with us. So you knew the recipes were delicious. You knew that it was all based in science and it wasn't anything crazy or extreme, and you were going to damage your body. We were going to take care of you. Ellen, when you first did it, you didn't have the benefit of that know, like, and trust factor like you do now because you've done Skinny 60 and the Decadent Detox. But you didn't. So talk me through what that felt like for you, deciding, okay, I know you talked earlier about how you wanted a reset, you were in, you decided, but were there any surprises for you about what being vegan and sometimes raw for 2 weeks felt like for you?
Yeah. So I want to echo what Melynn said about just the where you didn't have to think about the list and the menu. That's fabulous. I can't emphasize that enough. And it's actually, I had to break it down. There's so much food, it won't even fit in your fridge. So as far as I had to break it down into 2 shopping trips. But I think I was most surprised by the complexity of flavors. I did not expect that with a vegan menu. I didn't expect I mean, how full I would be, how just pleased I would be with the overall food, from whether it was a smoothie or a soup or whatever it was. I mean, pudding. I mean, I know we talked about chocolates earlier, but we can make pudding that is fabulous, and so it was. I was just surprised at the world of foods, I
Yeah.
guess would be the best way to say it. There was just so much, and I was never disappointed. No, well, okay. I will say I'm not a huge fan of raw foods, but that being said, the way you have created them, and it just it makes you make them very satisfying. And so it just, each day I was like, oh my gosh, taste this. Oh my gosh, taste this. Like, it was so good. So I didn't know what to expect, but I would have to say that the trust came quickly because of
Ooh,
how
yeah.
pleasing all of the recipes were. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, Karen and I are no dummies. There's a reason why in the beginning, as Gretchen said, we say make your chocolates before you start. Make everybody excited, right? I mean, there's a reason why it's called the Decadent Detox. So Karen and I always laugh. I mean, you've heard us say this, that, I mean, we eat, there's no one that can eat us under the table. Like, we have just got huge appetites. We love food so much. And, you know, for me specifically, because when I was developing the recipes, food just is one of the great pleasures of life. It has to be enjoyable and extraordinary, and healthy food has to be even more delicious than unhealthy food. Otherwise, we're not going to stick to it, because let's be honest, some of the unhealthy stuff tastes really, really delicious and we want to eat it, right? So if I can help people see that they can do both after the detox and do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and help, my main goal is just making vegetables taste delicious. I just want everybody to eat more vegetables, no matter what else you're doing. Just be excited about eating vegetables, no matter what. So it's just so exciting for us when people love the food, right? It's really cool, because I mean, we're doing it 3 to 5 to maybe more times a day, right? It's got to be fun. So Gretchen, what was your experience of going vegan and doing raw and all that kind of stuff for 2 weeks?
Right. I just knew it was going to be different. I knew it was going to be different from what I was accustomed to. So I just entered into it, and I did not feel like I missed the meats or anything like that. Definitely satisfied by the menus, and felt full, and I didn't miss it at all. So yeah, I could go. I think I could go vegetarian pretty easily. I think I would still love my fish, but yeah, I think I could do that. So, but
yeah, it's very funny, isn't it? Because whenever anyone finishes the detox, it's always the same sentence, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think I could be vegetarian or vegan now, And it's so interesting, because our response kind of surprises people, right? Which is, well, that may not be what's appropriate for your body. Your body may actually need some animal protein, right? So our goal with the cleanse is not to turn everybody into being a vegetarian or a vegan, because there's plenty of unhealthy vegetarians and vegans, right? And there is this popular misconception that being plant-based means veganism or vegetarianism, right? They're not the same thing. We should all be plant-based, meaning our diet should be based in plants, and then we get to supplement those plants with animal and or plant protein of our choice, right? And that, what is appropriate for us is different for everybody. So often, people with very high protein needs find that they fare better by eating just a little bit of animal protein, but mostly plants, right? So yeah, it's interesting how we get to rethink these things, and also get to rethink what we actually enjoy eating and what makes our body feel good. So I want to go back, Melynn, to what you were saying. I said I'd pick it up about the juicing, right? Not only just juicing, but juice fasting. So only doing liquids for 3 days. Now, obviously, we're doing nutrient-dense fresh juices and broths and herbal teas, and we're chomping on the juice popsicles. Thank God for the juice popsicles, right? But still, if you've never well, we're all fasting in every 24-hour cycle when we sleep, right? But the concept of actually not masticating and chomping on something and putting our fork to our mouth or whatever, it can be kind of a source of anxiety. What's that going to be like? Can I do it? So you spoke a little bit about that before. Do you want to just elaborate into what that was like for you, Melynn, that the 3 days of the juice fasting?
Well, thank goodness you set some good expectations that it was not going to be drinking, apple juice for 3 days. There were so many options of really textural differences. And then the idea of looking at juicing as this new, new interesting opportunity to try something new. I'd never done it, and I really loved it, and I still do it today, and probably drink more juice than, I don't know, maybe I should, but it is really, the whole 3 days was it was no problem at all, but you gave us that expectation. So when I first started thinking about the detox, I was a little worried about that, but as it came closer, you prepared us, and I really feel like we're never too old to learn. And if I feel like, when I started that, I'm like, this is my chance to learn a whole lot about somebody else who's an expert, somebody else who can help me build my own repertoire for the future to reduce disease in my life. And so all of this really worked together, and it was a beautiful thing. I loved the juice day, loved them, 100%.
I think it's just like a shock, isn't it? Where you just go, oh, I can do this. Who knew?
Yeah.
Ellen, what was the juice fasting like for you the first time you did it? Clearly you liked it because you kept coming back for more cleanses.
I kind of had the same mindset of Melynn, okay, I'm just going to go with it and see what it's like. Let's see if I can do it. And, you get through day 1 and you're feeling pretty good. Day 2 is definitely the hardest. And then by 3,
day 2 is always the hardest.
And by 3, you're like, by gosh, I'm going to finish this thing. But I think, they're fabulous juices. And if you figure out your rhythm, right? You have your juice, and then you have your broth, and you have your tea, and you can have your popsicle. And so you are very hydrated, and you're really getting all of those nutrients kind of evenly throughout the day. And it's not that bad. And I would like to say, if someone, for whatever reason, if their body can't handle it, you and Karen kind of help them understand how they can still detox if the juice at that moment isn't the right thing for them. And I would say, don't be scared of the juice fast. It's doable. You're still getting so many nutrients and so many good things, but, I did it. I'll be honest, there have been some cleanses where the juice part has been a little more difficult than others. And I think it's just where your body is at that time.
And your mind, and emotionally.
Yeah, definitely. I've been in different mental places at different times, and it's been a little bit more challenging for sure.
I mean, I struggle with it some seasons where I'm like, oh, I'm going to make triple the popsicles because this is just harder for me. Right now, I'm just emotionally, I'm feeling more stressed. I mean, it's just different every time. And, some people, it's okay if you don't want to juice fast. You can just eat raw foods with the juices and get all the nutrients, but not fast. I mean, there's just options. Gretchen, what was the juice fasting like for you? You clearly came back for another season too, so I can't even survive.
I did. Honestly, Tess, I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. I thought in my mind, I was like, I don't think I can go 3 days without eating solid food. And just like Ellen said, day 1, okay, we knocked day 1 out, and then I just kind of stayed with the program, just kept following it. And day 2, and I did it, and really, I don't feel like I felt particularly deprived or anything like that. Like I didn't feel starving or lightheaded or, any of those things that I expected that might take place. When I don't eat enough, I just know, how my body feels and stuff. And I didn't experience that at all. So.
And I mean, if nothing else, the way that your skin glows after that juice fast, I mean,
True.
as we get older, our skin just gets a little bit duller, drier, loses that shine. And the juice fast, I mean, that's one of the big things. I mean, all the things we're talking about, inflammation, better sleep, better energy, all the things, but the skin, I mean, your skin is like baby skin, right? Did you guys experience that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible, right? I mean, it's just like, whoa, I'm going to do it just for that, right? So, I mean, we have people come in right before weddings or, you know what I mean? They've got big events and they're like, right, I'm doing this, and you just look like $1 million afterwards. So you've all spoken about the community a bit. I just want to dive into that a little bit more about how that fed you during the experience, having access to the Facebook group, being on the live video calls, the email support, the videos, Karen's meditations. I mean, they're so amazing. There's so many resources for support. So, Ellen, how did you tap into that? How did that help you get through the 2 weeks?
Yeah, so I joined in as many of the support calls that I could, and sometimes I had to miss some, and that was okay. And you could always go back to the recording if we needed to. But it was just so great to be with the other people who were going through the exact same thing that I was at that time. And then, they may have a question that I didn't have, but I could still learn from it. And I think that was the thing that really came out of those calls, was just the excellent learning opportunity to kind of dive deeper and just learn more than what just like the recipes were teaching us. And I loved it. Became friends, right, with some of those people that I had gone through several classes with. A couple people are popping in my head right now. We're friends on Facebook, chat every once in a while.
Yeah.
And so it was just really, really cool. And then, like I said, that Facebook page, it's still a resource. Even when you're not in the detox, you can still go to it. And it's just an incredibly supportive community. I think that's the thing, is there's nobody there. And, I'm in lots of different Facebook pages, whether for my kids or for Alpha Gal. And there's always the one, right? There's always the one who and there's not the one. There's not the one.
Yeah, we're lucky, aren't we? I mean, I think the cleanse attracts certain kind of people, right? And Karen and I sort of have these superpowers of attracting pretty awesome humans, right? And it is a very, very supportive, collaborative, and celebratory community. I think that's the key, that we stay in celebration of ourselves, of each other, wanting to be better, wanting to learn. Like Melynn, you were saying, we're never too old to learn. It's never too late to make changes, Gretchen, how did you tap into the support?
The first time I did the cleanse, I was very diligent to log in and listen to the information that you and Karen were sharing, and the information and the questions that other people in the community were asking. And again, I'm echoing what's already been said, but it was just such a learning opportunity. I just gained so much information and knowledge about things that, like Ellen said, I didn't even know I had a question about. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, well, that's really cool. That makes sense. So yeah, it was the second time around, I ended up, my schedule was a little bit more busy, but what is so great is that I was able to take the time and listen to the recordings and do that at my convenience. So, and again, even the second time around, I still gained insights and information that just keeps coming. So it's been great. Amazing.
Yeah. Melynn, you had come off the back of being totally ensconced in our world in the 60-day reset in Skinny 60, where we have lots of calls. And so how did you find the calls in the detox as opposed to Skinny 60? And how did you tap into the detox community specifically?
Well, first of all, I'll say that I would echo exactly what Ellen and Gretchen have said. Absolutely. But I'd like to comment on something, maybe a couple little different things than what they've talked about. So I spent 40 years in the communications business, and trying to get across that the way to get people engaged is you have to have many ways for people to come together. You have to have many ways for people to connect with you, to make them feel like they're comfortable, to make them feel important, to kind of personalize it for them. And so I feel like you've done a beautiful job at giving every person in this program the chance to do it their way. Okay. So I'm not really a Facebook person. I don't love that, but I go there because I know I'm going to get valuable information there. 7:00 at night wasn't great for me for the video call. So I listened at 6:00 every morning, the next morning. So you gave us every chance to engage, whether live, remote, virtual, email, whatever. Okay. So that's number one. And I think that's really valuable for people to know that they have whatever kind of support system they need. And then number two, I don't know how you do it, but you and Karen treat every one of us like we are your best associate, like we are the patient or customer, whatever we are to you. You treat us like you know us, not only on the outside, but on the inside. And there's something about that when we're part of this program with you, that you are in there with us. We are not having to do this alone. Yes, we have books to look at and resources and the website to look at, but we have you to tap into. And I don't think there's really any substitute for somebody making you feel like they know you enough to encourage you to keep going and that you can do this. And you and Karen did this every day, no matter how you did it. And I don't know how you do it, but you know every one of us maybe as well or maybe better than we know ourselves. And it made for a beautiful experience.
Oh,
well said, Melynn. Very well said.
Oh, thank you. Well, that is certainly our aim. It's certainly our mission for sure. So I'm really thrilled that translates for all of you. So thank you so much. I take all of that into my heart. So I always end every episode with the same question, and I'm going to ask it of the three of you as well. Within the context of this conversation, I always ask everybody, if somebody has a dream in their heart and doesn't think they have what it takes to make it happen, what would you say? So within the context of our conversation today, going off what Melynn was saying about how it's never too old to make changes, and Gretchen trying something completely new, and Ellen saying, I need a reset. I'm doing this, What would you say to someone who's, got those aches and pains, not sleeping through the night, waking up to pee multiple times, waking up thinking, oh, I guess I'm just inflamed and this is how it is and I got to just put up with it? Needs to lose weight, doesn't know where to start, wants to make changes like Gretchen said and doesn't have a path forward. What would you say to them about making those changes they know they need to make? Ellen, what would you say?
I think I would just say they really have nothing to lose to give the Decadent Detox a try. There's only positive outcome. You're putting good things into your body. You're learning to pay attention to your body. You're learning to just balance maybe in a way you haven't balanced before. And there's the worst thing that could happen is maybe your ache doesn't go away. But the best thing that could happen is that it goes away and you feel like you've never felt before. And so I think that's what I would say. Just don't be scared. Just give it a try. It's just something, you won't regret.
Gretchen, what would you say?
So, like I spoke of earlier, there's a lot of options out there. I mean, there's a pill for that, and you can go to the doctor and take pain meds and all of the things. But the thing that attracted me most to your program was it was like just eat healthy foods. I mean, how simple yet if you don't know the way to get there, how complicated, that could be. And you just laid it all out there for us and made it so easy to follow and understand. And then you start to experience the results. And speaking to what Melynn was saying, you are invested in our success. And I think that that's one of the things that is so appealing about the program, and it makes me want to go deeper. I definitely am going to do the Skinny 60, and I hope to learn more and do be on the path to a healthy lifestyle for as long as I am walking this earth. So yes.
Oh, I love that so much, because as we get older, like you were saying earlier, Gretchen, there are some people that just roll over and go, this is it. It's all
Yeah.
down from here. And they just succumb to the symptoms and go, that's it. Whereas when
Mhm.
you realize you have the power to control how you feel in your body, it's a whole new world.
Right.
You get
Right.
to choose how you age. Do you want to sour like a glass of milk that's, past its use by date, or do you want to age like a fine wine that you savor and celebrate? I mean, I think we all know what we want, right? Oh, Melynn, what would you say?
I think that many people want to feel better, and many people want to reduce whatever symptoms they're having or difficulties or challenges. By the way, emotional or physical challenges, but don't know where to look. And so I kind of feel like it's your community that needs to be the people that say, there's something I think could help you. I think sometimes we feel like we don't have the right to say, if you wanted to lose a little bit of weight, I could give you an idea. Or, if you want to, like me, if you want to, improve your life and get off of this medication, I might have a way to help you. I think it's our responsibility to speak up and say to those people, there is a way to do that. And by the way, life's not easy. I'm going to be the first to tell you, I really love to cook, and it's a lot, but the reward is worth the effort 100%. And I think, like, when I brought in just a couple people to this program by just sharing what happened to me, not really to give them advice, but to share what happened with me. And they're like, oh yeah, but oh yeah, but I don't cook. Oh yeah, but I don't have time. Oh yeah, but I don't think I would be able to. I'm like, you know what? I think maybe you could serve yourself by just like, try this. Mm-hmm. And I think if we would be better about telling our story about what we've been through, we would have more people feeling better about themselves physically and emotionally and mentally. And so, like, what I take out of this is, like, I need to be the advocate because I know how good I feel and I want other people to have this experience. So that's my challenge to myself as a way to thank you for giving us this opportunity to be part of this community.
Oh, well, I mean, you are doing that today, all three of you, right? Reaching thousands and thousands of people listening to this podcast. So, dear listener, Melynn and Ellen and Gretchen are passing the torch to you to take care of yourself and love yourself and find community that's going to help you expand into the better parts of yourself. And it starts with your gut. What do you really want? And then physically cleaning up your gut health and digestion, nourishing your body with beautiful food and positive thoughts and sleep and managing your stress. And, our genes are not our destiny. Epigenetics, our food and lifestyle choices, play a huge role in our quality of life. And that there's so many things we can't control in life, but we can control this. how we take care of this one body that we have. We have control over that. So thank you so much to the three of you for sharing your story so openly and passing the torch to anybody who wants to take it, right? I really appreciate all three of you so much, and you're very beloved members of our community. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Tess. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Tess.
Oh, aren't they fabulous? What a great conversation. It was interesting what they were saying about the mindset piece, that they just decided, I'm in, and they just committed and off they went. And just what Melynn was saying about trusting in the process. They were really busting some misconceptions about what a cleanse looks like, that you don't have to starve or deprive yourself. There can be lots of food and delicious food. It's not just juicing, and that eating plant-based for 2 weeks doesn't have to be bland and boring. Right? You won't be hungry. It can be delicious and filling, and you can actually really relish the process. You know, they all came in for their own specific reasons, right? Ellen was saying she needed a reset. She wasn't taking care of herself. She was deciding it has to be me to take better care of myself. And Melynn, listening to those aches and pains, the sleep issues, the inflammation, wanting to be more healthy and vibrant and restore balance in her life. Was interesting what she was saying about what healthy looked like and redefining that being gluten-free and dairy-free doesn't necessarily mean that you're healthy, that there are lots of other things that you can layer in. And, you know, wanting to remove disease from my life when she said that, you know, Gretchen deciding, I'm looking at people in their 60s and some of them are healthy and some of them have already resorted to the rocking chair. You know, that she wanted to be healthy, but she didn't have a clear path to get started. And she didn't want it to be about the pill or the shot. She wanted it to be about eating well. They were all talking about learning to listen to their bodies and the flow-on effect that that's had in their life. You know, when Ellen talked about being able to diagnose that tick-borne illness earlier because she had learned to listen to the signs in her body. And the results that they got, I mean, my goodness, the weight loss, losing of the inflammation, having better sleep, better energy, better skin, feeling more alive, you know, learning so much about what made their body feel good and what didn't. The food piece, right, where they were all talking about how delicious it was and they were surprised by the variety and the complexity of the flavors and, you know, learning to love foods that they'd never heard of before, never tried or thought they might hate. You know, I mean, gosh, when Ellen said she's now growing beets when she thought she hated beets, that was amazing, right? And that the juice fasting is surprising. You know, when Melynn said that, well, they all said that, didn't they? That it was actually quite easy once they gave over to it, that they were drinking lots of juices and the broth and eating the popsicles and drinking herbal teas and things like that. It was interesting what they were saying about the coffee, right? How they learned to drink it for joy when they wanted it, not because they needed it for energy. And, you know, Melynn's lost the desire for it, right? And all three of them were talking about how they drink it when they want to drink it, you know, from a really empowered place. The value of the community, I mean, and they are three beloved members of our community, you know, that there is value in doing something like this in a group where people are going to ask questions that you may not think to ask about. You're going to learn things from your fellow members. Everybody's going to elevate and celebrate each other. You're going to help motivate each other and keep each other going, that you're not alone in this experience and that you can make friends with people from all over the world. What I loved the most about what they all shared was about the education and the resources and the learning and the knowledge, that it goes beyond the 14 days, that there's so much learning and growth that you carry forward in your life after the 2-week experience. And that it's the gift that keeps on giving. And I love it when I hear this from members, because that's exactly what Karen and I set out to do when we created this program, just to empower you with knowledge and with tools and resources to be the best, you know, the best version of yourself and be healthy and vibrant no matter what your age is. So if you would like to join us for the next cleanse, we'd love to have you on the video calls and get to know you and for you to be part of our community. So you can learn more about the 14-day cleanse at ithastobeme.com/detox.
I want to hear about your It Has To Be Me story. So head on over to ithastobeme.com/stories to share it in our free community. You can also join the conversations we're having about this episode and others. I'm Tess Masters. Join me next week and we'll dive inside another great story to help us go from dreaming to doing.